o'clock on April 30th, and I call this meeting of the Sunset Empire Transportation District Budget Committee to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for being here. Sarah, roll call, please.
Yes. Commissioner Allegria.
Present.
Committee member Dieter. Present.
Oh.
Yes. Committee member Fleck.
Here.
Committee member Griffith.
Here.
Commissioner Klezak.
Here.
Committee member Lansing.
Here.
Commissioner Montero.
Here.
Committee member Niebuhr.
Here.
Commissioner Romero is absent. Commissioner Stolberg.
Here.
Commissioner Teeple.
Here.
Commissioner York.
Here.
Committee member Wilson.
Here. Thank you. The first item of business that we have to take care of is the election of a budget committee chair. Commissioner Montero.
I nominate Leah Griffith to chair the budget committee.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by committee member Lansing.
She asked me before.
Are there any other nominations? No other nominations. Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Chair. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not chair. I also vote aye.
Question I have, is there a, select so I can actually see people. Is there a vice chair to be selected? No, we're not that, okay.
Or a secretary. No. We just got chair. Yep.
Just wanted to check. Well, thank you. And we will start with, are there any changes to the agenda? Additions to the agenda. See? Public comment. Did we have anyone sign up for public comment? Anybody here for public comment?
There's none online.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone online?
There's none online.
Okay, thank you. Budget Officer Carr, let's hear about the budget.
Okay, thank you. If we could highlight Betty Nielsen on it.
She will not come up here on this though.
Oh, she won't?
No.
Hi there. I'm here.
No. I just wanted to recognize Betty Nielsen from SDAO as a senior consultant. She was instrumental in helping us put this together and guide us through this. I really just want to take a minute to say thank you very much for all you've done, and she's going to be here for the first part of the meeting.
Yes.
You'll be able to, okay, how long are you going to be with us here?
Probably only about 15 minutes. I'm really sorry. I have
Okay,
another
no problem.
meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I want to go ahead and dive in here. I think I'll skip all the table of contents, introductory information, all that. Budget timeline.
Timeline just needs one correction.
Okay.
We need to submit the budget to Clatsop County Tax Assessor, please.
Ooh,
Oh.
Columbia County won't care.
Okay. Yeah.
And where's that?
That's right here.
On page 5?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the budget was prepared according to state statute, financial policies, and other district policies. You have the budget read here today. Covering this, the Board of Commissioners, Budget Committee, and residents of the Sunset Empire Transportation District. Purpose of this, of the budget message and other information included in the budget document is to provide sufficient information to the Budget Committee, the Board of Commissioners, and citizens so that they understand, so that an understanding of the proposed budget for the coming fiscal year will be gained. The proposed budget was developed pursuant to state statutes, SETD, financial policy, and other district policies. The information contained in the proposed budget represents the district staff's best estimates of resources and expenditures. These were obtained using professional judgment, existing policies, budget history, and generally accepted accounting practice. SETD Budget Committee consists of the Board of Commissioners and 6 eligible residents who submitted letters of intent to serve on the Budget Committee. Administration tried to obtain a 7th committee member, but was unable to find a volunteer. The approved eligible resident members and the commission totaled 13 Budget Committee members. In its deliberations, the Budget Committee reviews and, if necessary, revises the proposed budget from the budget officer. The budget has 3 main funds, which include the general fund, special revenue fund, and a reserve fund. The budget includes an increase of resources and requirements of $952,001. That represents the contingency fund, which includes accrued interest as of March 31st. This amount was added to the FY 2025 budget as a separate line item for transparency. This fund must have board approval to be used. Given many staff changes in the current fiscal year in high-low administration positions, SETD staff was focused on keeping our routes sustainable for this past fiscal year and continue to have that plan for the fiscal year ahead. We're currently operating Route 101, Route 10, Route 15, and Route 20, and our 88 paratransit services. As we head into the fiscal year 27, we have new challenges with the federal funding and the timing of execution of our federal grants. ODOT has advised SETD of potential uncertainties regarding future funding. Staff has taken this information into account and will be running as lean as possible for the coming months. We have reviewed our options and carefully constructed our FY 27 budget while being thoughtful in the FY 26 expenditure. So in grant 5310 and 5311, which are our federal budget, total of $1,731,217 for the biennium. For FY 27, grant 5310 is currently budgeted at $338,539, and 5311 is for $862,153. We have a stiff plan that we've had, but we amended it. The stiff total was $2,144,691, and the allocation for FY 27 is $1,533,774. The capital budget, we purchased 4 buses. That's related to 5339 federal grant. We received $720,000 with our match. We have budgeted for a slight increase in property taxes, a decrease in timber revenue. And although we still haven't been given much information on what the timber revenue is, we believe that will decrease by roughly 14%. And then the following is a graph of the general fund revenues by category and actuals for FY 22, 23, 24, and 25, 26. And then the FY 26, I'm sorry. This should be up there. I'm sorry. Is it up there? Sorry. Read my one. And then, so you have the rest of the FY 26 projected revenues and the FY 27 proposed budget. These are the sources by categories. Look at our cash, fares, our ODOT, interest and other revenues, state timber, state mass transit, STIF, and property tax. We made payments on our loans and received 4 new buses before the end of FY 25. Receiving financial support during the shutdown of 2023, we've been steadily repaying our loan for nearly 3 years. As of now, our outstanding balance stands at less than $400,000. That includes accrued interest and associated loan fee. Once the loan is fully repaid, will be in a stronger financial position to explore the restoration of core routes and consider expanding service to better meet the community needs. We're also including a 2.5% cost of living increase, the COLA for employees, with their normal 4 to 6% step increases. We will maintain FTE at a new level of 28 employees. Shows our personnel costs associated with that. You can see just a slight decrease in those costs. So the full time equivalent of employees, FTE employees, have decreased by 40% since FY24 and our proposed budget for FY27. Org chart.
Well, there's the last paragraph.
Past fiscal year has been one of stability for our district, providing a solid foundation as we plan for FY27. While the budget for FY27 is larger than FY26, but smaller than in previous years, it remains realistic and manageable. There was a carryover of $400,000 that was not applied in FY26. That was our STIF funds. This amount was distributed in FY27. I'm confident the proposed budget for FY27 will support our core operations, allow us to maintain current operations. We're not anticipating any major new projects or significant changes. Our focus will remain on maintaining consistent, sustainable service along with operational sustainability. We're also hopeful that the uncertainties around federal funding will begin to settle, allowing for more predictable financial planning in the future. There's the org chart. I think you're pretty straightforward.
Question?
Yes.
Where's the rest of the organization? This is the management org chart. Where's the rest of the organization?
That's all I could have. You would like to see the rest of the organization? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so, on page 7, second paragraph, you say, we have budgeted for a slight increase in property taxes. But then, when I look at the top of page 8, and I look at FY27 proposed for property tax, that's actually less than FY26. So I'm not understanding that you tell us on one page, you're telling us we're budgeting for more property tax, but on the graph, it looks like you're indicating less property tax.
Yeah, that does seem consistent. Okay, I make a note of that. Don't have the answer. Yeah, but clearly we had I was under the impression we had a slight decrease in property tax, and that's what's reflected here. Maybe that would got from an earlier draft or something, but I'll make that clarification.
Because I know we can expect a decrease in timber money. And then the other question I have, you said we will maintain an FTE at a new level of 28 employees. How many FTEs do we have right now? So how much of an increase?
I think we're 30.
So we're decreasing the number of FTEs, is that what I understand? Okay, I thought it was, the graph again, if I'm reading it correctly, looks like a slight increase.
Hmm,
That FY 27 bar looks a little longer than the FY 26.
yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll correct that.
Well, the blue section is lower. The blue section of that graph is lower. The benefits, the green part is.
No,
Yeah, but on the
the next
FTE
one,
number,
that
that
one,
should be
the
higher.
FTE graph.
Yeah, that should be higher.
So
He adopted one that's like. The
Yeah.
projected, so it's.
If you could at our next meeting,
Yeah,
be
you look
sure
at-
to clarify those
Yeah, if you look
questions.
at I think if you see our actual adopted budget was at 30, and the projected is to be at lower than 30. And I think that this is nuance in that we have 30 FTE, we hire drivers, and then we've had retention issues. So while we have 30 FTE, we currently don't have 30 people on the payroll because some of the drivers have resigned. We're recruiting and training drivers as we go. So the FTE equivalent and the number of people we expect to have on staff,
it never matches.
we're trying, I mean, it's a
No,
budget.
And that's
so-
not what I'm asking. I'm not
Understood.
asking bodies,
Mhm.
I'm asking FTEs.
For the budget.
For the
Yeah,
budget.
right.
So it was
So,
supposed to be 30 and it's actually less than that projected because we don't have 30 people.
well, you can project 30 FTEs and not have to have 30 bodies. So it's the FTE that matters. It's not the number of bodies.
Right, so the projected
For the budget,
Okay,
actual rather than.
Right.
okay.
okay, other
So
question.
make a note here and
So you're projecting 30 FTEs for the next fiscal year.
no,
Is that-
no,
28.
20.
So that's a decrease of FTEs.
Yes.
Tita, did you have anything more?
No, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm not sure, I mean, we're not adopting this grant, I mean, in the graph. When on page 12, unless I completely misunderstood, you have,
Not there yet.
I'm assuming he'll get to that and explain those.
so what is all this stuff
Well, this is his budget message
in terms of,
and telling us what he's going to tell us
Yeah.
later in the,
Yeah.
in the detail.
I'll be at page 12. Okay,
Penny?
On page, excuse me, page 8, and someplace else too, but, lists salaries and wages, payroll expenses, employee benefits. I get salaries and wages and employee benefits, but what's left over to be payroll? Is that the processing of it and not?
payroll expenses are, there are, yeah, let me get to that specific, I don't have the chart from me. There are, I'm trying to visualize the buckets. Yeah, unemployment,
Okay, other
there's-
related fees.
yeah, they're the,
Family.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know what they are, I just they're not coming out. So,
How is it that they're decreasing that?
well, what happened here was, you see the green part of the chart's been consistent, but in this one, it's much larger. And the orange one was fairly consistent, and this one is smaller. So we don't know how these were constructed in previous budgets. So what we had to do is kind of, we reconstructed it. We had one bucket that's bigger and one bucket smaller, because we're not sure how they divided those other expenses up. Because medical, dental, retirement, all that fits into this one bucket. And this is, that gives us the big green part. And then the smaller portions didn't add up the same way. So whatever formula they used, we couldn't crack the code. So we just, we had to kind of go with our own way. And so whatever, I don't know, what are the line items that we use in the payroll expenses? Do you recall? I can see the chart, but they're just not coming in.
Workers' comp, payroll taxes.
So there were two or three items that were in there that we felt were in this category. They don't align with previous budget, but the dollar amounts are, while higher, they're somewhat in alignment.
Best guess, depending on the information you have.
Yeah.
And the way we put this together was a little different in that, I'll explain, here, let me explain that a little bit more later. But we did some things with our healthcare expense and some other things that were done. Just an example is like everyone gets healthcare, so we allocate in the budget an expense for everyone, every FTE to have healthcare. Well, in the budget before, there were people that didn't have healthcare, and they elected to be on somebody else's healthcare, didn't have it or whatever. And in previous budget, those numbers were all taken into consideration. So the budget was budgeted lower for people not getting health insurance. But we can't assume these people are not going to take health insurance. We have to assume that everyone that's working for us is going to have health insurance.
Right.
So that number got inflated because we added everybody into that pot. I think it's better to be conservative and assume that all your employees are going to carry health insurance, as opposed to the other one where you pick and choose some people that currently don't have it. We hire new people, and now you're under budget.
Yes.
Do you want to take your FTE from 28 to 30 just in case you want to add more staff in the future? So we don't.
We're doing this preemptively because we have the loss of revenue this year.
Yeah.
We're projecting a loss of revenue in the next biennium. And we felt it was best to make the adjustment now because we're still under FTE on drivers.
Yeah.
And we still have to keep the focus is on keeping service on the road, the drivers behind the wheel, and keeping our operations running. So making the adjustment on the administrative and staffing side is something we felt we could do now. The drivers are kept at full FTE, and we're going to continue to focus on that as our effort.
Okay.
And the budget determines how many FTE you list.
So I want to point out on line 2, we added the contingency and the reserve into the budget. So it's now a line item. It will reflect resources being a little bit higher, but then you'll see further on where we put it in on the debit side. So here we have our net working capital. You'll see fair revenue is fairly consistent with previous years. It's at 90,000. We're not projecting an increase there. A lot of this, we did not have a lot of understanding.
Back there, I'm sorry, I can't see when you put that.
Okay, that's why I did that
Thank you.
too. I just have a question, before you go into this further, because I think it's gonna be part of what you need to say out loud. To me, the column that is year-to-date actuals with the projections in there, that column isn't as valuable anymore because we can't judge where we're at actually versus budget, which is what that column was supposed to be for. So when there's a projection versus an actual, can you let us know what that is? Because we can't, there's no such thing as actuals and projections.
No.
So what is it really? Are those projected numbers or is that where we are now currently?
Well, this is the form that we're given by the state. So we have that heading. I don't think any of those are actual, with only a few exceptions. I think most of those are our best estimates and our best projections. I think the federal funds and some of the other stuff is pretty clear, but even then, yeah, whether or not we get the timber revenue, the commissions, I mean, these are our best guesses.
And just know,
The
can I
project,
just ask
Uh-huh.
something which I think is what you're getting at
Uh-huh.
is this form that is from the state, because this is the standard form that all municipalities use. Have they now changed that year-to-date actuals to a combined year-to-date actuals and projections?
I can't answer.
Is there anyone else who
It
works
seems
with
to
a
me that-
city or something budget that works with this
That
budget
is the one.
form?
I don't use this form. We've created our own, but I just use, I would imagine that means whatever your actuals are projected forward to the end of the year. That's what happens.
Yes, that's
Then,
our best guess.
then you need to change the title of that column to say,
It's a state form, so I'm not sure I'm comfortable
does the state form actually say year-to-date actuals
This is-
and projections?
and this is the way I understand, this is the way I got it. From our consultant.
So can I ask, because we're not going to resolve that question right now, because there is a question that before our next meeting, that you double check with the
Okay.
state if they have combined that into a single column. Because in many respects, year-to-date actuals wasn't really helpful because you still had 3 months left of your year to talk about. So putting actuals and projections together, in my 40 years of experience with municipal governments, actually makes sense. So, but I want to find out from the state if that indeed has been something that is.
Yeah,
So, yes.
So I will say that in years past, I know that this budget committee has found it useful to have the year-to-date actuals in there so we could know if we were tracking in line with the budget. And so especially if the budget was one number and the actuals were already higher than that number, we could tell our budgeting was off on that and we needed to fix that in the year going forward. In the budgeting process, we took the state form and for the budget committee meeting purposes, added a column so we could see that, so that we could use those numbers that didn't end up being the form that we submitted, but it was useful for the committee purposes.
Okay.
And I would like to suggest that we do that for,
so to be clear, you want to see us add additional column here, one that shows year-to-date actual and one that shows projection.
yes,
Just the one. Sorry.
Can I clarify? Is the first column is what you're talking about adding year-to-date actuals. The second column would be this one, which is combining the actuals and the projections into a single number.
I don't see how you can even make decision combining actuals and projections into one number.
You have to, because if you don't know, if you're setting up your actuals and maybe it's like insurance and you paid it all in January, it's going to show 100%.
yeah, so basically,
So you need to have, but other things are going to be month by month.
if you add a column between adopted budget this year, 25-26, you add a column right there and you say the year-to-date actuals. And that's where you put, what have we actually
Right.
expended? And then, yes, it does, that's going to be less than the next column that is the state directed column. That's the actuals and the projections.
Right.
In most cases.
So,
What?
In most cases, it'll be less than.
no, it'll be more.
It'll be more than, because it's combining what you've already spent and what you may
think you're
spend.
still going to spend.
So it'll be the same or more.
Why can't you just have actuals and projections, two separate columns?
No, because then you have to add, well,
Then you'd have to
It's
add
still-
everything
it's
in
gonna
your
be-
head.
it's really a title issue. It's not a number issue. Because it's still going to be that same.
Yeah.
Year-to-date actual
So-
plus the rest of your
So
projection.
let me do this. I will talk to our consultant and get some background on this. I'm hesitant to add or change the form significantly if that's going to
Okay.
create. I'm concerned that where we are with our actuals is a moving target. We'll pick a date, we'll put actuals there. We are projecting some based on some formulas and others based on actuals and some based on best guesses. So to break this out into its component parts is going to be an elaborate exercise, and we can do that. But let me get with our consultant, SDAO, see what they are recommending in terms of best practice. But at the same time, I'll ask if we can create two more columns, or one more column. So we'll have an actual inserted into here. What date do you want the actual to be, like today?
No,
Or-
we already have the actuals. We got them in our financial report
That
at
was
the,
today.
at the board meeting.
This
We
month.
got our actuals through March 31st, this morning at our board meeting.
Okay,
What date do you want?
So what you're
make it
saying
March
is
so we
31st.
want it for March 31st.
Right, because we
That's what I was
know
at-
that.
that's what-
That's what was reported to the board this
That's
morning.
what I was asking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the next column, and this really, while this is a state form, we can turn it into a worksheet for the budget committee so that the budget committee can better understand all of the aspects. And then you're gonna put it together on the blessed form that you submit. It's like having a
The
worksheet.
problem, the only problem I anticipate with this is on the expense side, it seems relatively simple to draw a line, and this is the date. On the revenue side, I'm a little fuzzier on that, but I guess we can do the same thing. What grants we've received and what grants we haven't received, what taxes we've received. I mean, you're adding a level of complexity to this that I'm not sure we need to see for the development of a budget.
I'd like to ask Zach.
Oh, I was just going to say, as long as whatever you create for your budget book has the information that the state requires, you can put it in any form. If you want to add to that, you can.
Okay.
Now, you have to, at the end of the day, what you submit to the paper and that type of thing is on a specific form. But the state, I mean, we don't use this, but we include all the same information and we just send what we have to the state. So, if that makes it any easier for you, I'm not
No, I
asking
mean,
one way or the other. I just want
We can
to
add
get some
whatever
level of
we
comfort.
want, it's just that the level of complexity that's added to this process.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure we can capture that in a way that's. Well, actually, I would say, I'm not sure that it meaningfully informs this budget process. So,
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna throw in this as the chair, is there is definitely interest by members of this committee to have that year-to-date information. And you already have all those numbers from your report that you did. So all you have to do is put those numbers in and then as a column, and then you've already got your projections and actuals together. So it's just basically taking your report that you did at the end of March and inserting that column into here.
okay, we'll do that.
So that it's pretty straightforward in that respect. And that this committee, members of this committee want to see that.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay,
All right,
so we'll go ahead and go on.
Okay.
When you move to, can I just ask another thing? When you
Sure.
move to a different category, especially if you're moving more than just, like one step down or something, can you be sure and either give us the number or make sure it's real clear what the heading is for that? Give us the line of that category that you're doing. So if you're looking at fares, you might say fares on line 6.
okay, we'll do.
Commission proceeds on line 9,
Okay.
that kind of thing, just to help us keep
Okay,
track of everything. Okay.
so I said line 2 was a contingency. Line 3 was previously levied taxes. We're going to, what we did here is we did our best guess to inform these, what's in the proposed budget, because there's a lot of uncertainty. So some of these, we're trying to take a conservative approach. As you can see, well, we projected 25,676 on line 3. We received actually 18,500. We had to take a guess that with the 3 remaining months of the year, we would, divide that by 9 and multiply by 12 to get 23,000. That's not always the case, but we tried to come up with a number that was relatively close to the adopted budget. Actually, that's not correct.
It should.
We had, we looked at our actual.
You have to look at.
Yeah,
your
we looked at the
actual.
actual, so I'm a little,
Who
so,
put this together?
our consultant did.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but in any case, our proposed numbers are less than our projected numbers in some cases because we're being more conservative. So you look at it, interest, and then you look at fares on line 4 and 6. You can see that they're conservative numbers. IGA contracted services, I'm not sure we had any information on that. I don't think we spent any money. Line 8, rentals, was our parking. Then you look at line 9, commissions and proceeds. Those are other things we receive money for in terms of what else we have?
Point bus and Amtrak and.
Yeah, all the different things, fare mediums we sell. So, yes.
Sorry to back up a little bit.
Go ahead.
You said this and I missed it. I'm seeing, adopted budget was what, 400,000 last year on line 1, and we jumped up to over $1 million. What's the 700,000 difference there on line 1? From 400,000 to $1,135,000. On line
We
1.
added 900 and, well, no, that's not it.
Not.
I don't have the answer. I don't
Can
recall,
you get us an answer for the next
because it
meeting?
was cash and working capital. We ended up with a lot more cash than
Sarah,
we had.
would you
because
keep down?
In one hand,
Say we need an
so
answer.
if you look at our cash, yeah, I understood it. We received 400,000 in stiff funds. That was not allocated. We pulled 168,000 back on a loan payment we made that we pulled back into our account. So that's 568,000. That's the lion's share of what that was. That's what I can recall off the top of my head.
So the 400 was money we had, but was not budgeted.
Was not budgeted. I can't explain some of the nuances of what we did before. I just, as I discovered this information, we put it in there, we're making the adjustments for it.
Right. Thank you.
Hey, David, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry. I just want to make sure that I understand this right. So is the contingency for line 1 and line 2, is that 952 contained within that cash number? Or are you saying that you have $2.2 million in the bank?
Yeah, 2.2.
Okay.
The contingency is in a fund that's a separate account. We can't access that without board approval, and there are certain conditions we would need to access it.
Okay.
It's not a contingency reserve in the normal sense that if we run over budget here, we take some money out,
right,
put money back in. It's set up as like a rainy day fund. We're only gonna do that, break glass in case of emergency.
And just a little bit further clarification, it's not that that money wasn't in the bank, isn't in the bank now and wasn't in the bank last year. It's that it never appeared on any budgeting sheets. It was just like this. It was a footnote at the bottom of the budget sheet, which was not the correct way to do it. So now we're putting it into the budget so that it is fully acknowledged and fully tracked.
Okay.
It didn't just appear on it. It does on paper.
Rather than go through each line, do you guys have any questions about these I can address specifically, or do you want me to go through each line? Best I can.
I think you should go through each line best you can.
Okay. I was afraid you're
If
going to say
anyone
that.
else is disagreeing.
Okay, so
I agree.
go back to line 6, fares. We didn't predict any increase there.
You
IGA, Somerset. Oh, go ahead.
you actually predict a decrease.
Yes, we're not seeing.
Because I don't compare to what was the adopted budget last year. I compare to what we say are the actuals. And we have to figure we're either going to have more or less than what we've actually got this year. So what this predicts to me is that we're going to get $9,000 less in fares next year than we did this year. That's how I read this.
Okay.
Is that?
But on the other
Accurate.
hand,
I
the 90
I am,
projection.
we did not make any analytical projection on fares. We made our best guess on fares because it's such a small part of our revenue and difficult to ascertain. We give away a number of free fare mediums, and we're entering into agreements to do free fare. I felt that because of all the challenges that we're faced financially in the future, that I would take a conservative approach on most of our numbers, just because, well, I might have seen a trend over 3 years of a 2% increase. I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to include that. It's at a point where it feels more important for me to be conservative in the face of declining federal revenues, potential decline in state revenues, uncertainty in state revenues, and certainly it's just the abundance of caution to just take find the most conservative number I can and still try to make a realistic projection.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Is there any notation of the tickets that are given free?
There should be, but there's not. We, in our proposed ticket
Ticket
bank, we will put in some sort of a form of accounting system. Typically, you put a budget item, a line item would say ticket bank, and there'd be some dollar amount, and we decrement against it, and we track that. We did not do that in this budget. We did not develop that ticket bank program. The amount of tickets and the number of dollars is not really significant. And I mean, it's thousands of dollars, a few $1,000s. And so we weren't in where we are today, trying to put our finances in order, trying to meet all of our other obligations. Some of these programs are just going to have to be deferred a little bit longer before we can incorporate them. Can I promise you I'll put it in next year's budget? I promise you I'm going to try.
And it also is, it shows that transit agencies performing the public service
Yes.
other than the normal bus routes.
I'd like to suggest that we discuss the ticket bank as a line item when we get to resources, when we get to expenditures.
Okay. Rentals.
You said that was.
That's our parking lot commissions and proceeds. That's the charging and ticket sales and I imagine vending machine sales. State timber tax revenue projected less. The state mass transit, we project less. Other, again, some of the composition of this and how the sausage was made, we're not sure. So making a conservative number here on line 12 seemed to be the best thing to do. Because
Those are your buses that you sold extravagant.
it could be, yeah, probably is. I don't do the budget normally, and I'm not the finance officer, and our finance officer's been here about 3-4 weeks. I'm going to do the best I can, and whatever questions you have, I'll do the best I can to answer them. And if I struggle a little bit, I will make a note, and I will come back to this group with defined answers. I can.
I would like to suggest that for the next meeting, that we do have the definitions for rentals, commissions, proceeds, and other, so that we do know what they are, and IGA contracted services. So that's line 7, 8, 9, and 12.
I asked Sarah to keep track of any changes or any things that we're asking to be answered at next meetings.
Okay.
And also line 22, I think. Is that a total?
Yeah, it's a total.
Okay, then forget that.
Okay, so
Yes, one more question.
Yes.
This is regarding the calculation of the state mass transit payout. How is,
Which line are you talking
oh,
about?
sorry, 11.
Okay.
11. So there seems that the county would have some number of personnel, somewhere that you say you lost 100 people at Fred Meyer, somewhere, some number somewhere in this county that would help determine the estimate for the mass transit payroll?
I'm just going throughout, but it's a constant change in terms of the number of employees that you have. And so when we're looking at an estimate of 125,000 last year, it was 115,000 was in the budget. I think we might get more money, but as David has said repeatedly, he's going on conservative mode of not necessarily wanting to put all 133,000 there because we may not get that.
Yeah, that, I understand the estimate. I
Yes.
just like some numbers outside of an estimate.
I don't think you'd be able to get those numbers. When you're saying the county has accurate payroll numbers at any moment, it's going to change continually as payroll changes.
Well, is there any notation when a large company loses a number of employees, like Columbia Memorial?
There might be, but we probably can't, it's probably not going to be needed for this. Is what I shouldn't be doing that as chair, but I'm saying that.
Okay.
We're doing the best we can with the information we have. The amount of detail that you could get into to find the root of all these numbers. We've been doing this now for 2 or 3 weeks without the experience of doing it before. So we're doing the best guess we can, come up with numbers that are relative to the previous budget and that makes sense with the revenue we're going to get. They're not going to be perfect. This is budgeting is as much an art as it is a science. And so we don't have the database, we don't have the analytics, we don't have the budget officer, finance officer, data people to give me those numbers. And so we're having to create this in somewhat of a, not a vacuum, but we don't have all the resources we have to get us all the calculations to that degree. So we're doing the best we can with what we have. And it's, like I said, I'm into this 3 weeks and we could do better. We can dig in deeper, but we're running into a time constraint as well. We have to deliver a budget by June 30 to maintain operations. So we're doing the best we can in the time frame we have. To do more, to slice and dice this further is possible. I just don't know how we're going to fit all this in with the time we have remaining.
But for future.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to be able to calculate all of this, and there's not that many line items, so it wouldn't be that, to me, if you have the resources, and, you know, I could probably hire a consultant to crunch all the numbers for us, but I don't think we have it. John, you had it.
Yeah, this is an exercise in creative accounting where we are right now because we don't have the luxury of the historic perspective that's necessary to really come up with answers that are coming out around the room. What you're doing right now is going through line items, and I think that at some juncture, I know that you're going to come up with the answers to these, but for the purpose of this afternoon's dance, let's just sally forth and go through it and know that the effort that you and your staff have put in has been immense, but there's going to be some hiccups because of the lack of historical perspective on it. So kick it.
Thank you.
You told me that.
So let's go ahead and go through, and what I think he makes a good point is we're not going to have exact numbers on all of these, especially on these estimates of income. They just don't exist. You make your best guess on these with the information that you have. And a lot of that is what you did, what you estimated last year, and not necessarily your full
Don't
projections.
even go by the adopted budget last year.
Yeah.
Really, what you want to be looking at is what is our year-to-date plus projected. That tells you our experience.
Okay.
That's reality.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on.
Can you address line 16?
So if you look at line 13, 14, 16, these numbers are known to us because we know what we're going to be getting in terms of our federal fund, MODOT. The line 16 the $50,000, it's kind of an anomaly in that we received a $720,000 grant. We spent $669,000 on buses. That's an actual number. The $50,000 that remained is going to be returned to ODOT. So you can spend it in that category on those vehicles. We carry it forward because we still have money, but the money will be returned to ODOT when the grant is closed out.
And the grant closes out when?
When ODOT
Decides.
decides to close out.
Okay. So if we can spend it
We cannot
next
spend it.
year, or we can't
We
spend
cannot
it at
spend
all.
it. No, it was allocated for that particular purchase. Purchase was made. This is the money left over. Now we have to return.
Okay, so we can expect that we're gonna see that on the expense side, so it's zero.
No, until we know it's going to go back, we can't. Don't predict. We don't know when they're gonna ask for it back. Could be this year, could be next year. It's the anomaly of working with grant.
Can you put a footnote to it?
Okay, can I ask that you write down that we do want to know where that shows up as an expenditure? We think it shows up on page, what page is that?
13.
Page 13.
Line 52. We can't keep it on the books as a research if we know we can't spend it.
Right. It shows up on line
Oh, yeah.
51,
Okay.
52. Well, it shows up on 51.
Oh, yeah,
you're right.
51.
It does show up on page 13.
Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, so,
Yes, David, I don't know if you've gotten any instructions from ODOT regarding the monies, and I don't remember which of the categories it goes in as far as the SNF formula or the discretionary or the other grants. In the past, they have recommended that you budget for 20 to 25% more than what the grant application or what the dollar amount was in case there were more funds available and that you were able to receive, so that you were able to receive them. Because if you didn't budget for an overage, then you were not able to receive the overage that was available. Have you gotten any counsel regarding that?
We have not done that. We've heard that, and it's hard. I don't know if that's an anecdotal story or that's
Absolutely, 100%.
They said it at
So-
OTA.
So I just want to make sure that we're not being too conservative, and then if there is more money available to be allocated, that we aren't
okay.
stuck to saying no,
Okay.
which did happen to us one year.
Okay. We'll do that.
can I ask a question from what you said earlier today? Is this, you said this budget was really prepared by our consultant. I can't remember her name.
Betty.
Betty.
Yeah, Betty,
That she prepared this.
she helped us prepare.
She helped you prepare this. And so.
She couldn't be on. She was on the call for the first 15
No, I know that. So does she not know about this issue?
She would have to be informed because
No.
she's a consultant from the special district.
Okay,
Not
not
a
ODOT.
transit
Okay.
authority.
That's
So
what I wanted
this
to
is
make
what we
clear.
heard at ODOT meetings.
Okay. So one of the answers we need next week or next meeting is where is that concept of ODOT requiring people to put a higher budget number in so they can receive funds in the future if they become available?
It's not a requirement, it's an advisement.
Well, an
So
advisor, yes.
And Arla should be able to
Yeah,
share that with you.
Okay. And did you get who Tina said could share that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because you guys are under a little bit of a challenge in that you're trying to do this without any background and other people, and then
Yes.
your consultant isn't a transit person.
So I think that 20% would not apply to the numbers we just discussed because those are the federal numbers. I think it might, and I'll check on this, but line 19 where our STIP
Yeah.
formula funds, that's probably the best application for it. So I will
But find out for sure.
find out for sure.
Find out for sure.
David, on line 19, is that a transfer in from the STIP fund? That 1530 or 1.5 million? Do you know?
Yeah, that is our, that's a calculation. Because we received the $2.1 million. We did not spend $400,000 wasn't even budgeted. We did not spend $1 million. So at least it's $1.5 million out of a $2 million fund. The way our budget was constructed before has some inconsistencies that we're trying to figure out. Why would you budget 25% one year and 75% the other? I mean, I struggle with, usually you try to balance your budget and you try to project it in a curve. You try to have an understanding of where you're going and how you're going to get there. And I can't decode that.
Sure.
It's kind of a random, it's really random. And so this is our way of trying, it's two things. One, we have to deconstruct that original one and construct a new one in light of in our last year's federal budget, last biennial federal budget, we returned $369,000 in federal dollars that we did not spend because we did not budget. The previous biennium, we returned $1.2 million in federal money because we did not budget. In our next budget, our next biennial budget, we are losing money in one fund, adding money in another fund, and trying to fill the gap by taking money out of one and the other.
Sure.
And this is not normal practice under normal circumstances. So we're trying to create a curve.
Trying to right the ship.
And I mean, I got all the ballast over here. Yeah, I'm leaning heavy to port, and I'm trying to make a right turn here.
Sure.
And it's the challenge isn't little numbers. Now the rental $5,000 commission pro, that's not where it's in the 1.5. That's where we are really struggling to get our head wrapped around what we need to be, because we need to spend a bunch of money, particularly that federal money, or we're not going to get it again.
Right.
So this budget looks goofy because we're spending money in one area where I won't say we don't need it. We do need it, but we're not spending in other areas like service and stuff because we can't. So I'm just trying to hold serve till we get to our next biennium where it's a lot better. But then I got a 13% hole in it. And the next biennium I could have a 23%. So I'm looking. So I'm driving the ship, looking at that 23% hole in 4 years from now. At the same time, trying to get to where we are. And I'm not. And I'll just admit it. I'm not worried about $6,000. I'm not worried about $500. However that sausage is made, I'm not really worried about it. I'm trying to spend this $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to spend this federal money because that's where, and that's where our that's where we get our money. If I don't spend it properly and I don't spend it accordingly, and then if we don't, in our next budget, we've created budgets, buckets for that, because they're not in this budget. And so if it seems like I'm goofy and I'm all over the place, it's because I am. And I can't explain it other than more than I'm trying to. So I appreciate your patience and understanding.
And I just want to make sure that what both Tina and Kathy are talking about, making sure that there's enough money in the budget that if we have extra money, is either related or not related to what you just said about having to give money back because we didn't have enough budget, not enough money in the budget to receive that funds. So I just want to make sure that both of those, because I think what you're saying, what they're saying is the same thing. We just need to make sure that we're in a position where do we need to make one of those $2 million just so there's some fluff to be able to receive the money if we get it. That's, I think, the question that is coming up from past board members and even what you said, getting the money back. So, Penny?
I just want to throw in the term that I think I'm hearing people talk about, but not using the term of budget authority, that we have to establish that we have budget authority that allows us, if those revenues come in, to spend it.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that accurate? That this is
Spending authority from the.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Line 19, stiff. That will need a 20%, 10 or 20% adjustment. I will consult with Arla and confirm that number. That's our,
That's the authority.
no, that's our actual dollar amount. The conundrum is, and I'm not gonna, okay, sorry. And so total resources are 5,466,812. Estimated taxes to be received is 1.2 million. Our total resources.
Okay, stop right there.
Okay.
Estimated taxes to be received, that's where you show less than the current year. And that's where we got the mixed message, whether property taxes are going to be going up, property tax revenue going up or going down.
I'm gonna ask Zach, because you know from the county what they told the cities about property tax. Is property tax gonna go up or down?
I only know for Seaside,
Okay,
and Seaside's so far behind our assessed value, so far behind real market values that ours will go up by 3% for years. I don't know about Astoria, and I don't know necessarily how, if this is the entire
this is
county.
the entire.
Yeah, I can't speak for Napa or for Jewel or any of the other places. I can only speak for Seaside specific.
So is this number, the 1.27 million, is that a number that the county gave you?
No, it's an estimate. We took the 1.324 and just reduced it.
I think you can call a county and they should be able to give you an estimate.
I called the county and they said they could not give me this. Talk to me.
I can show you where the years past are. I think past will inform the present, right?
Okay.
So if it's been consistent, we're locked in at 3%, right? If the property taxes can't go up by more than 3% in a given year. So if they've been 3%, and again, I don't know the answer to this question, but if they've been 3% pretty consistently for the past number of years, it's probably safe to say that they're going to go up 3% again.
Yeah, and we have urban renewal zone that we're in. I don't know how that factors into it. And again, I'm not trying to avoid the answer here. I'm just saying I don't have the means to do the calculation.
Sure.
I cannot, in the time period I've had, with the resources I have, I'm not able to make these kind of calculations. Sure. I called the county, I asked them, can you tell me what it's gonna be? They said, no, they cannot. I called the county assessor's office in Classic County. Yeah. They said that it's gonna be 10 or 15%. That's what they gave. So that's all I have to work with. And then we look at this saying, well, we don't want to cut it by 10 or 15%. We're going to come up with a number. And like I said, it's more art than science. And so this shows a budget resource of increase of just about this under $300,000. In these times, with the total resources, that would be pretty conservative. We might get a little bit more. I can't, if I start saying I'm gonna, well, anyway, that's what we're projecting. That's our best guess.
And that's mainly your stiff funds.
Yeah. The majority of that is our stiff and our federal. Everything else is just, I don't want to say nickels and dimes. I mean, obviously it's nice to have $23,000 in interest or $138,000 in, and that might be a little higher because we put it in different accounts. But for me to do the calculation, I don't have the time, honestly, to do all that. In the time I've had to allot it for this budget, I think we've done a pretty good job of putting it together. And this is pretty conservative. Any other questions on this grade? Okay. Go to the next page. Salaries on 2. Here's where the Zach had mentioned me earlier, and we showed on the chart. As we look here on line 3, our budget proposal is half of what it was projected. Again, and then it's more on the benefits. Well, the benefits did go up. The cost of employees' benefits did increase. We did fully fund everyone's benefits, but there's a substantial increase there. And then we didn't know how the payroll expenses were calculated. We could not decipher that, so this is where we came in. But if you see on line 5, while we projected it to be 2.8 million, we're coming in at 2.786.
But you have one more employee, so I don't quite understand.
Again, it's the vacancies we have current. And then we hire people, we're still trying to get 28, but we don't have 20. Because people are either gonna be laid off or people leave, hiring drivers. It's a state of flux. So that was what we were projecting.
Can I ask, do you know, what kind of increase your, health insurance is going up this coming year?
I think it was 8%. Does that sound right?
5 to 8.
Yeah. And then we added healthcare coverage to all the employees that previously weren't covered as a way of trying to account for it in the budget. And that increased it probably by another 10-12%. Quite a bit.
Yes,
I just want to say that if the district keeps their health insurance through SGIS, the self-insured agency, SDAO voted at their last board meeting to where they addressed the health insurance increases to keep the increase to as minimal as possible at 10% or less, and are paying for it out of reserves in order to pay down the increases for their districts that are getting insurance. So it's not that insurance costs haven't gone up, which they have all across the board for anybody that's getting health insurance out there, higher than 10%. SDAO has chosen to pay for that, some of that increase out of their reserves to hold the prices for their member districts. So that's a fair estimate that it would be an 8 to 10% increase across, average across the board.
Okay, line 8, provider services is comparable to the previous one. Line 9, same thing.
provider services.
And you know what? I knew you were going to ask that. That's what I was trying to get back. I don't know.
Okay, let's add that to the definition list.
It's some provider giving us service.
Jason,
It's a small amount.
Dave, can you have Jason switch the slide, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it.
Oh, thank
I'm driving.
you.
Okay. I can't get anybody. 9. Again, audit services are expected to be about the same. Advertising about the same. Bank fees. Buildings and grounds, we've added a little bit more maintenance there because I think we're a little deficient. Building lease, we rent. I know what this is. We rent. I know. Don't bother your chair. We rent a storage facility in Warrenton where we store our archived records. That's what building lease is. Moving right along. IT is comparable, though there probably needs to be an increase there. We did not increase it. Conference travel increased quite a bit because we have an influx of new board members and we have all new staff, a lot of new staff, and we felt we needed to increase that number. Drug and alcohol testing is comparable. Dues and subscriptions went up. Dues and subscriptions, you know what this is too. So we have software subscriptions. So our data for our motor vehicle maintenance, our paratransit system, they have a software system that we have a subscription to. Those have gone up quite a bit. IGA dues and fees. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm just gonna anticipate that.
Hey, David.
Yeah, I think it's
Yes. John.
On your computer and technology information services, are you not wanting to project more or needing more for that? Because I remember we were talking about that.
What line are you looking at?
Oh,
So
sorry.
there's the conundrum,
Conundrum.
whatever. I moved into the fund in the next biennium a substantial amount of money for computer systems.
Yeah.
Because I could spend that federal money on it.
Okay, so you're gonna do it for the
So
next.
we're gonna try to maintain what we have now. Because we had to find things we could spend out of that federal money, that was one of the things, because we need to put in cybersecurity, laptops, and those things, and we put a sizable chunk, $50,000-$60,000 into that next biennium budget,
Okay,
anticipating that. So it would have been in here, except part of the juggling is moving that into the next year and just making do. We're still gonna, I anticipate us being over budget in here.
Yeah.
But it won't be as much because we're gonna put that big chunk into the next year. And actually, I'm trying to apply for a grant to get $68,000 for cybersecurity and all that.
Okay.
Haven't been successful because the timing of those things haven't lined up for us yet. But there's a whole bunch of areas of opportunity there that we think we can take advantage of.
thank you, sir.
David, I've got a question.
Sure.
On 18, what exactly, I've seen that a couple of times. What is IGA?
I think it's intergovernmental, but I cannot tell you, so I already circled it that I have to look it up.
Okay.
Intergovernmental agreement.
Well, that's what I would assume, but I didn't know.
We have
Isn't that an organization?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's,
Let's just keep.
Sarah, double check that.
It's on the list.
Okay, yes, Kathy.
The IGA dues and fees, one of the things that gets caught that is included in that is the northwest area, is the NOATA. The Northwest Transit
Area
Alliance
Transit
is in that. And so if we have only paid $4,000 so far towards that, are we behind in paying our membership to them? So that is one of the things that is usually in the IG. Because it's an IGA thing.
Okay.
Because it's an intergovernmental agreement with the 4 other districts that are part of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might want to check if that's NOATA in there.
Because I believe
I've been signing checks bigger than.
there's at least a $10,000 annual agreement with that membership. And there's probably additional to cover the IT part of that, so.
we'll look into that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Okay, line 19, computers, furniture, small tools, we have an increase there because as much as we would want to defer everything in the next year, we have to buy some computers. We have some desktop computers that are working in our alarm system or our other systems that, well, they're just not supported. So we're going to buy some equipment. We have 80% of our laptops are no longer in their life cycle. So some of the older ones, we're going to have to just buckle down and buy them. And we'll use the federal funds in the following. Equipment lease is the same. Outreach, we've increased quite a bit because we feel that our focus in the coming year will be on a lot more outreach and a lot more activities.
And what goes into that? What goes into outreach?
So we'll be doing, Jason will go to these different events and we'll have a table and we'll do things. We'll be going to the veterans home, we did the veterans event, we did the homeless event, we did the not high school, but the job fair. We're really finding that we need to be out in the community more. And so this gives us tabling things. This allows us to go out there and whatever the fee is to participate. And we're just trying to increase our effort and our presence in the community. Employee recognition has a modest increase. Election fees.
Next year is not an election year. Is it
27.
Odd year. Yeah.
27? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Why is it so high? I thought it was just a pamphlet, voters pamphlet.
It's expensive.
No, they charge.
No,
They charge the entities for election.
Yep.
Whoa,
And those pamphlets are expensive.
Well, that's how they pay for their elections.
oh, I see. Okay.
Line 24 is fuel. I think you all know what's happening at the gas pump.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing nobody argued on. Okay, line 25, fuel. Line 26. There's modest increase in insurance. The legal ads, legal counsel. 28 uninsured loss. This is just a holding figure. We just reduced it because we felt that we haven't experienced a significant amount, and we're gambling a little bit.
Do we have a contingency in case that does happen?
Yes. We're gonna hit something. Just a matter of how much damage. Meeting expenses, we built up a little bit. Supplies a little bit. That's line 2930, line 31, printing. We reduced that. Just don't do as much printing as we used to. We do a lot of that stuff.
You increased it.
You increased.
We did?
Yeah, by
Oh,
about
there you go, just a little
$100.
bit. There you go.
Yeah.
I read the wrong line.
That's fine.
Professional services increased a lot.
What
Yeah.
goes into
So
professional
this
services?
was consulting. We have been debating this a lot. Well, I'm here now. We've been debating this a lot in terms of what I think was originally slotted in here was our comprehensive transportation plan, which is about an $85,000, $90,000 project. I moved that into the following year, so I probably didn't account for that here. So this would probably be adjusted.
So, yeah, and add that to the definition list.
So the increase, is that what you're saying?
No, we'll keep it the same. I mean, what happened here was we need to do a comprehensive transportation plan. It's about $85,000 a year. It's a requirement to get our loan, our federal financial funds and our state, when we make applications, we're supposed to have a plan. I think I budgeted it here to do that. But because we had that money available in the following biennium, I needed to find a creative way to spend it. I just moved that from here to there. I did not make the adjustment. That's what I think it is. Taxes, license fees, and interest. Telecommunications. 35 uniforms. 936 utilities. Those are all pretty consistent. Vehicle maintenance, I doubled vehicle maintenance. The logic here is I believe that because we're keeping these vehicles longer and they're older, they're going to require some more maintenance. I believe we have been, cover your ears. I believe we have been under spending on our maintenance. And a lot of that is because when you come from this constant pressure to not spend money, we cut a lot of corners. I think we have some deferred maintenance out there that we need to catch up on. So there's just things, I mean, I've seen our vehicles, they all work, they're all safe, but there's things we may have not maintained. And this gives us a chance to fix this driver's seat. I mean, replacing a driver's seat's 10 grand. You don't want, so you keep fixing, right? And then I got one driver that won't drive it because it's not comfortable. The driver can't reach the pedals. And so we really need to start looking at our maintenance program. And that was my background. So I'm from maintenance, and I'm happy to spend a lot more money on maintenance because I think that's one area of focus we can do that's really going to have the most impact for us and our driver. Shop supplies, so our total materials.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cal.
So along with it's okay to go to shop supplies because that's what my question is about. If we're going to raise vehicle maintenance and repair by that significant amount, is shop supplies not going to also need to be reflected in the same percentage increase?
Yeah, there's probably an oversight.
No, but replacing a chair is not going to require a whole bunch of shops.
Yeah, but it seems it's a reasonable
It could be higher.
observation that we should make that proportionately higher.
Okay, so maybe make that.
Yeah, I got. Okay.
So don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere?
No.
I can't.
I am proposing 2 new line items for your materials and services under the general fund. One is the ticket bank. I think we need to have a line item that says we are going to commit to this much funding for tickets to be given away during the coming year. We can establish the procedures et cetera, and the program, that is not necessarily connected to having it in the budget. Having it in the budget is an indication to our community that we are committed to this. It's a way for us to, when we apply for grants, to show that we are committed to this, and it can be included in our grant applications. And so I would like to see a line item for ticket bank as a expense.
Can I ask a clarification?
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, this is giving away free tickets
Yes.
at like one of your events?
No.
Something? No.
No.
This is
like grants. This is like a grant program to nonprofits in the, this is the way it's been operating so
Okay.
far, that nonprofits, social service agencies in the community can get tickets to provide to homeless people, to people who are their clients, CBH, CCA, Helping Hands.
Okay, so it's a
et cetera.
formal process, not just giving away a few
No.
tickets to people attending your event.
No,
Which
That's what I
we're
want to
not
understand.
receiving
what
tickets
that
for
was.
free. We're not.
there is a program in place that you guys have not been well informed about.
And I
We'll go
guess
there.
my further question on this is there a monetary expenditure that is made for this ticket bank?
Well, you have to think about the worth of the tickets.
But then is there a corresponding income?
Credited.
Credit
Okay.
to revenues.
So
In
how-
the same way that property tax is a property tax, it's not to be received. We cancel each other out, net out to think you're gonna receive.
Okay, so how would that look on here? Two lines, one on
Yeah,
revenues and
so,
one on the expense?
nope, just in revenues, so.
Just in,
Yeah, so you could do fares and then directly below, and you could say 90,000, and then directly below that, you could say fares estimated not to be received, or programs, or what have you, and it would be negative
oh,
$2,000.
okay. Whatever way is the best way to do it, but I think we need to have it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure was that.
Sorry, did that make sense to you?
It makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it makes sense to Sarah, who's writing it all down, so that when they go
Hopefully
back to
you're
work on this
recording
tomorrow, they know what they're talking about. If not, call Zach. Sarah,
It's
take that away from
only
your
working
suggestion.
tomorrow, so. Get that.
Did you have-
Tomorrow is Sarah's last day.
No,
Let's not give her
that's not
too
right.
much
You've been
work
writing
for
really
you.
good stuff on there today, Sarah. I'm gonna miss you.
So,
So anything I miss is because
Is
she.
there?
So,
Okay.
so I'll put it in under line 7, under fares, we'll add a ticket bank. I don't understand how to do that function, so we'll have to, we'll try to have that in there.
You're gonna add a
So-
line 7A or another.
Yeah, let's just add that with Zach's help. And then let me get back on track here. Penny?
so for me, that is an acknowledgement of what we're doing. And a promise that we're gonna try to figure out, and it's still maybe not gonna be accurate. But as you've shown us, some of it's an art and science, and it's, it's an acknowledgement of what we are doing and what we believe in doing. So I think it's a good thing to do.
I have another
Okay.
one to add.
Okay, I've got
Go
Matthew
ahead.
has had his hand up. And then,
I was just gonna ask if she got to the second.
no,
No, I haven't.
okay, what's your second one?
The second one is I would like to see a line item for us to have I'm going to call it a public relations contract. Right now, we have a position called executive assistant and marketing assistant. Those are two very different kinds of jobs. One is a job that you need to be in the office, you need to be working with the people, the executive assistant. And I do not believe that an executive assistant can also do the marketing coordinator, public relations, whatever. I'm not saying hire somebody. I'm not adding to the FTEs. I think we need to have money in the budget for a contract for someone to do our public relations. Sarah has not had the opportunity during her time here to spend any time as in the marketing assistant role. And we're not doing ourselves any favors if we don't do some specific public relations. And I would prefer it be public relations because it's not marketing. It is public relations. It is public information officer. It is getting out there and making sure that, writing press releases, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we need to put money in the budget for a contract for public relations.
Would that be something that technically would fit under, professional services?
It would probably be
And
professional
would
services.
fit in that
And I
line
would suggest
with the definition.
with the definition, and I would suggest that a contract for a year could be in the neighborhood of, doesn't mean you have to spend it all, but somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000. And we have the money.
Okay. Yes.
Well, I can't even speak. Sorry. It's too much. It's, in terms of, the director said, services first, in other words, the bus routes. And, to put that amount of money, maybe we could have another route, which I think would be more, because there's certainly gaps in the route system now due to lack of money and drivers. And so I don't think we're at that point. If we got a grant for that, fine. But to take it out of the budget at this point and to boot that all the finances, the state, the federal, and any other, the tender, they're all precarious in terms of the amounts, and they're not going up, they're to go down.
Thank you for your concept on that. We've got Tina's concept on that. What I would like to say is it wouldn't be bad to see what it would be in that professional services line. And then as we go through the changes and the information and such that they're getting, then it can be part of the discussion of what our priority is for the budget. And then we'll have a more succinct discussion about that. But I don't want to do that right now.
So the theory is if it were to happen, it would be in line 32, professional services.
You call that a public service officer?
No, a public relations contract.
Okay. Have we made it down to the end of the page? I think we have.
The ticket bank, because it's not a true cost item, isn't going to be a problem at all. Public relations contract, I don't know that we've identified that in any of our grants. This would have to be probably all local money. I'm not at liberty to say how much local money we have, that's not available, that's not really match. But it puts us, and then if you look at our strategic plan and how we've identified our priorities, I don't know how that fits, so I'll have to look at that as well. I think it's a good idea. I'd love to be able to add this and any number of other projects and programs to the budget, but at this point, I have not identified $50,000 to $75,000 extra, other than the mistake I made.
Yeah.
There,
If you leave that number
see,
alone,
again,
you got it.
those dollars are identified as an item in the grant programs, part of the project. This is not identified in the grant as part of the project. So we'd have to come up with a way, or just not have it as a project, we just spend local.
Yes.
In one nonprofits, it's called outreach. And you already have an outreach
We
line.
do have that.
But he's talking about outreach that is based.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Outreach is a vague enough term that it
Yeah, and I agree. I think there could be,
out there.
and what I would,
And
well,
so, yeah, I think 50 to 70,000, that's a person. I don't think you want that much of a contract
That
to
is a
start
person.
maybe look, what I would suggest then is look at some amount. We can adjust outreach. In fact, you could put the ticket bank in outreach, if you think about it. So there's a number of ways we can do that. We can modify that by some level of dollars and see what we can do to come up with.
What line is that?
On 21.
Okay, we're ready to move on to page 13. All right. Outlay debt service.
Okay. I actually responded to that, well, I mentioned it earlier. We bought some buses, we paid for the buses, we have money left over. This money will be returned to the state. So that is the end of that particular category.
That's the same $50,000 that we saw in the resources. Yeah.
This is the corresponding. ODOT loan, this shows that we will pay $474,856 for the loan. Total debt service.
And what is that loan for?
During the shutdown in 2023, in order to get started again, the district soon received a loan from the state, and this is the process of paying it back.
So basically a COVID loan.
No,
I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
So year-to-date actuals and projections for that is $253,000. So next year, we are gonna pay more than we did this year. Am I understanding that properly?
That's a great question. I'm trying to do the math here.
We may try to pay off the loan in fiscal year 27, even though we have payments due in fiscal year 28.
So you're suggesting early payment?
Possibly.
Will that save us money?
I thought we had already decided that we weren't doing early payment.
Yeah, this is overstating that a little bit. I'll have to look at this number.
So if I remember correctly from our board meeting earlier today, there was a statement made that our loan from that, our outstanding loan, including fees and loan fees, is under $400,000. So at this time, which means that the year-to-date actual projections
This is an error.
seems low, and the proposed amount for next year's budget is overestimating it, because that is an overage of at least $100,000 towards the loan that we would already have paid down further than that by then.
Yeah, this is an error.
Okay.
And Sarah is writing that down.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to stay till Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna point out line 62 and line 64. This was a capital there's a capital reserve fund. Do you have this one? You just hand that out. This page is supposed to be part of our budget. It was omitted. This shows a capital reserve of $100,000. As you can see, it was not carried over into the next year. This, because we're not using it, we're not using it, we're not carrying it over, it's not in the budget. But we have to include it in here to show that it was in the budget for the last 3 years. So this shows blank in what we propose. This is just a placeholder to show that money was once in the budget, is now no longer in the budget.
Oh, that's right.
It's just a way to communicate that we used to have $100,000 in there, and now we don't. There's money.
But does that mean you spent it, or what
We didn't use it. It was never used.
did you get it?
Oh, it was already there. We had $100,000 parked in this fund. We never used. I
It
took
wasn't
money out of
real, but it wasn't
So we
real money.
moved it somewhere else so we could use it. Is that what I'm understanding you to say? Yeah. Yeah, so we did use it, Pam.
It's
Oh,
spent.
okay.
It just
It's
means
spent.
Okay, that's all I need to hear.
So
So
this
we think-
$100,000 was in the capital reserve fund because there were capital projects that the district foresaw that it was going to be needing. and the district had decided that they were going to put $50,000 to $75,000 in that a year until we did such capital projects, such as the roof on this building or the roof and maintenance over at the Warrenton headquarters. That the money was taken out of there was not something that was authorized by the board, and it then was used in other places. That it is now not there anymore as a capital reserve fund, is something that we should consider as a budget committee as far as what types of things that we do need a capital reserve for, because the roof in this building has still not been repaired, and it will be, we have leaking issues at times. There is leaking in the basement. There's capital projects that we need to undertake as a district, and having no capital reserve fund is a risk from my perspective. That's my 2 cents worth about the capital reserve fund.
How do you know
And
where it's spent?
It was spent during the time that money was spent and not accounted for where it was taken out of, and the contingency fund was used and things like that. So I was not on the board when it was spent. I was on the board when this fund was originally established.
So I agree that there should be some plan to have those kind of funds established, and part of our strategic plan, we talked about developing that. We don't have a plan in the foreseeable next 2 bienniums. I don't foresee us programming that. There is an opportunity for bus and bus facilities grant we can make an application for. We did not do the most recent one because it's due tomorrow. And we don't have the bandwidth to do that. What we need would be for us to do a lot of engineering analysis and have design plans or something to do to get federal funding. And then it needs a NEPA, it's an environmental protection document, which you pay engineering firms to design and develop for you. The money would be available, but in the number of days we had to apply for that grant, they just don't have that bandwidth. I would expect that's our best option for major capital projects such as the roof. We're just.
But if we don't start putting some money away, what will we do when the roof fails?
Gotcha. I mean, at this
What
point,
money? Where
this
will
point-
we have the money?
we're really trying to keep operations going, and I think that's the
I
focus.
understand that.
And I'd be the first one to want to repair the roof. That's my first day here, I want to repair. It's not identified in our strategic plan. It's not identified in our capital plan. It's not identified in our grant applications. So we could put it in here. But it has to be local money, and we have to basically take some marginal money that we have available, and we would put it in a budget that's not available to us. We can still look at our cash reserves, and our cash flow, our capital reserve, our contingency.
Mm-hmm.
And there's dollars there that we could at some point dedicate to that. I think dedicating it there, we just have not had that discussion. We've not had that as part of our budget or board meeting coming out in our strategic plan. We said, are we going to put away this much money every year and do a new roof? We're going to put money away to buy new buses. We've not had those conversations. So to put it in here now, while I think would be convenient, I'm not sure that we've had that organizational consideration.
Penny?
During our strategic planning, we did talk about the high priority of wise financial planning. And so I think there is a fit. I understand putting money away that's a little hard to touch. And I understand that there are little pockets that you could scrounge and, if you've got to patch something. But it seems to me that there might be a consensus, and we haven't heard from everybody yet, so I don't know, to have a line item there. So it's $100,000 or it's $10,000. It might feel like we are making a start in an additional way to responsible stewardship.
Kathleen? Line 67, unappropriated ending balance. Now, is that leftover that you need to add up to have the income match the expenses?
Jennifer, I'm calling you for that because we discussed this with Betty in general alignment. What you got? And it's the combination of some of these other funds. I just don't remember the combination.
Yeah.
It's money that's already kind of. I don't remember how it's broken up. It's not extra. It's.
Isn't that the money that we cannot use during the year because we need that to start FY20, the following FY. Yeah, at the tail end of the budget, you have contingency, which you could use some of during your year. And then you have your unappropriated funding balance, which you cannot touch during that coming fiscal.
Unless you call the budget committee back at the session.
Exactly.
Publish a supplemental
Right.
budget.
So that's like a reserve fund so that we know we have money for the
July through
yes.
Right, because
October or
Yeah,
something.
for FY 27, 28.
So Jennifer, I just pointed out to you because I remember talking about this line with Betty. I just can't remember the answer. I'm just sorry. It had to do with a combination of several elements that constitute this, and I just can't remember the elements.
would you be able to research it?
Yeah, oh sure.
And I have looked up unappropriated balance because it doesn't mean anything to me.
Mhm.
And so what I got out of several legal definitions is what you were talking about in terms of there's a couple of months that you may not have income and you use this to
Cash flow.
right.
Yeah.
But not during the budget year we are considering right now. It's the one budget year in the future.
Jennifer, do you remember what
We cannot use this during this.
So for 2026,
So
we can't
can we
use it?
know?
Can we get the question answered?
Okay, I'll
By
read
the
this.
staff person at the question.
I'll get this answer. Somebody gave it, I'm sorry. Kind of running out of gas. Here we go.
One more question, and
Yes.
this question might be more to Zach or to Jennifer Stanglin. The unappropriated ending fund balance from this $100,000 capital reserves money that we were given. It was budgeted in an adopted budget for the 25-26 fiscal year. Where does it show? Like, is it just disappeared, or what do we? I mean,
I'm sorry.
Where are you talking about?
the $100,000 sheet that we got sent, that we were handed, the $100,000 capital reserve fund. Because it's an unappropriated ending fund balance
Yeah.
on this adopted, where does it go?
Oh, yeah.
Where does that go to flow into
It can't
in
just
the
disappear.
account? Yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah, we did not see that on the balance sheet.
I mean, my sense is that was gone before then, but I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm.
But because it's on our budget document, we need to figure out how to account for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
So, thank you.
Okay, total requirements not allocated. Total requirements for all units, program within fund, 4 million.
What page are we on where?
I'm saying one, page 6, line 67, 68, 69, and 71.
Page 13.
So let me add something on the operating contingency. In
Line
the
65.
yes, line 65.
Mhm.
In the past, that was designated. I don't know how it came up with the number 952,000. I don't know how we got to that, put it that way. But at some point, it became $952,000. Okay, we know that's in resources. And we're taking the whole 952 and putting it under, we're continuing it to put the whole number under operating contingency. Can some of that be filtered back into requirements and the operating contingency for the coming fiscal year actually be lower? Did I just make sense?
So you want to spend some of the operating contingency?
I'm not saying I want to, but
Can.
we?
Maybe my memory's wrong or understanding is that the contingency, you cannot use that for your budget. It is something
Yes, you can. No.
unexpected.
Yeah, when you put it in contingency, it's, what that does is it protects the money during that fiscal year, and only the board can approve expenditures. But at this time where we're setting the budget for the next fiscal year, we can take some of what is in the contingency, put it somewhere else, and make it part of available funds for the current year, thus lowering how much contingency you're protecting during a fiscal year.
So back where were you gonna say something, Jack? Okay. Back where that shows up as revenue, basically on page 11, line 2. Are you suggesting that
No,
the proposed by the budget officer, just for an example, would be only 852,000?
no, I'm not. What I'm
Okay.
saying is, we know we're bringing 952 forward as a
Right.
resource.
Right.
What I'm saying is, we don't have to put that whole 952 in contingency as a requirement. We can take some of that 952 and use it somewhere else in the budget,
So,
but we still have a contingency, so maybe,
so on page 13, line 65 might be, just for example, 852,000.
yes.
Okay.
Because we still know that the unappropriated ending fund balance is, we're still gonna have money for 2 years from now. But just so we know that if there's something in the budget that we need. I just wanted that for clarification. I'm not saying we have to do it. I'm just saying it's something that we know we could do.
Yes.
But if we reduce this to 8,000, and we still have revenue of 900, we have to put that money somewhere.
I would offset.
You'd offset the two. Okay.
Could you repeat that, Zach?
I would offset the two. If you're gonna reduce this 952, the 952 that's protected as cash on hand it needs to net out to what you have.
So that first one I talked about needs to go down to 852 as well.
And
So-
it's distributed in the budget then
Right.
into whatever we need that money for. So
Okay.
to build on that,
Otherwise, you don't have the
I don't-
budget.
I don't get that. You have a,
So
so let me, if you put 952 as resources, and you take 100,000 and put it on line 2 as a requirement, and 852, these two requirements will balance out to that contingency.
but I would change that contingency line so that it's clear that that's what that contingency is destined to be. You can move the 100,000 into cash so that it still balances out. But if you don't offset that revenue, the cash on hand, it's not clear
Oh,
that that's
so-
what this is.
So the 952 that shows this contingency would be 852, but you take 100,000
And you
and
put
put
it
it
up
up on your cash on hand.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, now, yes, so we're still balancing out.
You have the same amount of money in the
Got
bank.
it.
and you just- and you
Yes,
just-
and that's what I wanted to make sure we.
And you're tracking what money you're holding separate
Exactly.
as contingency. That
Yes.
So that
number
makes
is
sense.
tracked.
Otherwise, those two are
Got
gonna
it.
diverge
Yep.
and no one's gonna be able to make any
Right.
sense of why that number's that.
Right,
You really want to get
That
away
makes
from
sense.
not making sense.
Exactly. So just one thing, because I know it's important. The contingency fund at the dollar amount that it is right now is not a forever and ever until there's an emergency number. It's an amount that can be used in the budgeting process to put where we need it and allocated properly and accounted for. So you know, people are using the 952. I would prefer to use an 850, nice round number. You bring it down to that, and then that would be your number in your contingency fund that you're bringing forward to the following year. That won't change unless there's an emergency, but you've taken that $100,000 and applied it where you need it in that budget. So 850 is then your going forward contingency number.
And is that contingency number have any requirements of what, or is it just cash?
It's cash.
It can't be more than 15% of the expenditures,
Okay,
because that's the maximum, without calling the budget committee back into session, that's the maximum
Right.
that the committee
but
can
with
then
all of our other things having so many, you can't do this with this money, you can't do that with this money. I just wanted to make sure that that 952/850, whatever we decided to be. And I think probably most people feel we don't want to, oh, let's just spend it all and do really good stuff this year.
No, but it's not a restricted fund.
But it's not a restricted fund. Okay, so keep that in mind as we move forward. You had a question and then you next.
Still not sure that's right, but you could be right. But the other, the concern I have is you're willing to spend $50,000 to $75,000 for marketing and take out $100,000 for your contingency in an area that, I mean, at a date, a time where your finances are very precarious because of the situation.
I was making up that number just for conversation, just so that we could understand what we're talking about.
No, I
It
understand.
could be anything.
Right,
Could be
right.
anything. It could be much less. You could, we could decide as a committee to only take out $20,000 out of that 952. So I was just throwing out broad numbers.
Mhm.
So it's not, I'm not saying to reduce that to.
And just
Okay.
because it's there doesn't mean you spend it all.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, Lauren.
Could it be allocated for the capital reserve fund, or does it have to be done as an expense?
I see.
So
be
that's
allocated to whatever.
some-
Yes.
Mhm. So it's a
That's-
savings
that's
account.
where I-
We can use it well for a savings account. So, okay, we are getting past our time here. So where are we with what we have left to do? And then the next meeting and so on and so forth.
Okay, 14,
Mhm.
stiff funds. Is how much money received in stiff funds. Yeah, it was that carryover funds. And there's the 1533774 on line 5. And the cash on hand from stiff is 301,876.
Is a question I had, is this the one that needs to have more money put in it so that if we get more money from them, we have the budget authority to be able to receive that money as well as expend it?
I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you reflect. This is actual dollar. And so we're gonna adjust it by 20% more and now it's getting more dollars. But,
There's someone.
So I'll just put 20% here and
Or
make sure we
somewhere
do
that
that.
can tell us.
But this is that
how
fund,
we should
yes.
do that.
Okay,
This is
to
that-
be able to answer the
Okay.
Yeah. And how is this different from line 19 on general fund resources? That's
What page?
page 11, line 19. Stiff discretion, line, yes, 19, stiff formula fund.
It's the same. Good paper towns.
Okay, yes, it is. 153.
Yeah, it should be the same.
774.
You have to adjust- It's the one you're asking, we need
Okay.
to adjust both. I'll give guidance on that. 15.
Can I ask one more question? before you
Sure,
move on?
absolutely.
Is this money that you slowly expend every year, or is this money that you receive some carries over the following years?
Who cares?
Will you have, Betty, is that right? I think there should probably be something in this unappropriated fund balance to carry forward. So this cash on hand up in the 301, up in the upper right, should probably be unappropriated in fund balance for the previous year. At least that's, unless I'm not understanding something about the way that this works, that's typically the way that I would do it. The 242 on, year-to-date projections and actuals should probably be ending fund balance on the first preceding year. Does that make sense? Typically, your ending fund balance is your half basis on hand for the next year, unless there's something about this that I'm not understanding.
Yeah, and you know what, we've got me, I've been asking myself the same question over this point, because if it wasn't applied before, why wouldn't it be applied now? But it's being applied in that term in this 155. So I don't know why it wasn't in the fund. Why it wasn't carried over its cash. I mean, there's a disconnect,
Yeah.
There is.
and in fact, there's lots of disconnects here.
Right. I don't expect you to have the right one.
So you want it, so just so I understand, so line 2, where you have the cash, and we basically have the $151.5 million. We should show what was carried over from the previous year.
Right.
In here. So that
Right.
436,000 should be included in here and not included in the 1.5. So then it would show the 874, 742, plus 400,000 carried over, 400 whatever carried over in the cash on hand. But it still represents stiff money. Trust me, I've looked at this 874, 732 100 million times now. And I was trying to get my head wrapped around how does that translate?
Right. I don't know the answer.
But you're thinking that's something we should look at.
Yeah.
So we should look at how this might be, at 138K. All right.
Because if any money is supposed to be held on for the future, it needs to be reflected right there.
But because it's reflected here, the 1.533, it's included. So it's just in that account. So I don't, that part is where I get kind of, I'm not really sure, but the money is accounted for here, the 1.533, and a proposed number as opposed to the cash.
Is that revenue? Is that
Oh,
1.53? Is that revenue number this next year?
It's revenue plus the carryover.
So
So the carryover is
Should be cash on hand.
that's just staying still.
Yeah, because it's that type of money.
Okay, I see what you mean, though. I mean, it
Yeah,
really-
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to connect.
it's really cash flow, yeah, that would make sense, because we're representing this in the fund, that money's just carrying over that same fund.
Right.
Can I ask that you work on finding that out, and if you need more information, maybe consult with Zach?
Or
Or whoever the person is.
Yeah, I would
do it.
Okay.
has in that.
Because the main thing is, we want to know how to do it correctly.
28.
And so you might need to go to somebody at ODOT to get that information.
Yeah.
So I think Betty is a good consultant. She doesn't have the transit background for some of these things.
Now that I think about it, I think she does.
She does.
Does she?
Yes.
Okay, because you
Yeah, I
said
mean-
something about she didn't.
Now that I,
Again, that 874, 732,
Okay.
I've looked at that number 1,000 times now. I mean, I've just gone through this, trying to understand why it's this way, and it's the way you represent the stick.
Come back with us with more information, because we're not going to figure it out
Yeah.
right now.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
So,
and mine,
more on page 14 or maybe page 15?
15, again, this was from 23, 24. No money was carried over in subsequent years. This is just a placeholder to show that money is once in the budget. Several years ago. And then line 16, same thing. And then the one I gave you for the 100,000, same thing. They require us to put these LB forms for these budgets and subsequent budgets until they fall off. So after 3 years, they fall. Okay, well, that was really helpful. Apologies for not having more detailed answers. I will definitely look at IGA and confirm what those are. There are different pockets of money. Sarah will have a list for me. I'm gonna lock her in her room office until before she leaves.
Let her go.
And I have a feeling she's gonna get out of here anyway. But that would be helpful.
Okay, are there,
Any other last questions?
the next thing is comments from committee members, is there anything? Oh. Tim,
Thanks to staff who under all sorts of pressure and can only do so much. So keep yourselves healthy too while you're doing that work, because nobody can take care of that for you.
Yeah.
So that's my master's in counseling.
Okay, thank you.
Take
Thank you
care.
very much.
I just have one comment regarding the contingency fund, because this is the first time that it's been brought up that the can has actually been opened, that there's been a suggestion that that money could be used. So I think that it's important that the budget committee and then the board take into consideration the value of potentially spending some of that money and what it might be able to do for the district to have that as spendable money in our budget. So I just, it's for all of us to think about and for staff to take into consideration when you're crunching numbers and you're going, gosh, if we only, and we're going to have to take these cuts and it's going to hurt. But the following year, we're going to have more money. Well, maybe spending some contingency money will help us get there without so much pain. And if that is the case, I think that the budget committee and the board should take that into consideration. And it's could be a potentially valuable way to use contingency funds.
Mhm.
I'm not encouraging us to spend money willy-nilly and not to have a rainy day fund, but we need to be realistic in looking at these things. And it would be helpful in the budget process to have that wiggle room. I think what I heard is that the budget committee would be open to considering spending some of that contingency money in a good way, if that is something that is presented to us.
I might. Was someone else saying?
Just one caveat to that. I would just, if we're going to do that, I would double check our loan agreement with ODOT to make sure they didn't mandate we have a 15%.
Yeah, that's what I was going
That's
to
the
touch
only
on.
thing. That's the only thing.
We don't, I would like to see us have, something from the board or whether agreement or whatever, on what our ideal cash reserve should be. How many months in reserve, I think the simplest way to, how many months of operational reserve should we have in the event of our state funding or federal funding gets cut off or delayed? And if we have 900,000, that's 3 months worth of operating, right? That's what it is, cost. Do we want 3 months? Do we want 6 months? Do we want a year? I think once we understand where we want to be kind of globally, then I would say, if we want to have 2 months operating reserve, we can make 300,000 available. Let's do that. And then I would understand the context. Just peeling off money for projects just puts us at risk of, some projects rising to the top when other projects might be prioritized otherwise. So let's look at I would ask that we look at the global picture first and decide what do we want to do in terms of how much operating reserve do we want? Because if the federal money's delayed, we have this much money, and then we can go this many months. And then once it's gone, we're out of money. And so if we have that as kind of the starting point of the conversation, I would have no problem with spending money within that context.
Within that discussion up front has to be, what do other similar organizations of similar size do? Not for us to invent what is the reasonable amount, but what do other organizations that are on solid footing, what do they do?
And as Zach said, what are we required to do with our ODOT to live like? Thank you for saying.
any other questions or anything? I am going to add one is, when is our next meeting?
So on the schedule,
It's May 15th.
Seems like the consensus is May 16th,
15.
15th. I was against. May 15th.
1:30.
1:30.
1:30, May 15th, yep.
We will make the revisions, present that. Make sure I'm doing that right. We make the revisions, present the budget. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you everyone for all the help.
And I'm going, this is my favorite part. We are adjourned.